Thank you very much, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. So we'll move on straight to the panel session, beginning with the essay on trade and investment to the government and Governor of Bayelsa. Madam, MP 500 is the broader plan, and BIP is one of the initiatives from MP 500. Could you very quickly outline the program components from the curriculum to the networking sessions, access to finance like what we've seen here, and then we can talk about the impact before we delve down to MSMEs. Let's hear about the components.
There's a formula that explains everything that has to do with MP 500, BIP 2025. And that formula is e-commerce, or you can say e-trade, plus networking equal to development. Now, so what I and my team, what we did was we looked at everything that will enable the ecosystem, the financial ecosystem of Bayelsa to develop, and we put it in a single formula. So when you're talking about trade, e-trade, e-commerce, plus networking. Networking simply means I'm selling A product and you are selling B product. So if you reach out to me, you want to buy my product, needing logistics, maybe you are not in Bayelsa, you'll be needing logistics, the service of logistics, you will need the service of the network, the MTN, or I don't want to use network service because I'm still talking about networking. So you'll be needing the network providers like your MTN, your Glo, and all that. Then you also will be needing, the online shops, for example, like Jumia, Shopify, and all that, Amazon, and all that. So that is what this whole MP 500, BIP 25 is all about. It's all about e-trade, e-commerce, networking. You'll be in Bayelsa, you network with someone in Asia, in Europe, in Africa, outside Africa, even within Nigeria or even within Bayelsa. And by the time we do that, it has a replicable effect. The internally generated revenue of the state will shoot up because business will be paying more tax. All the businesses will be included financially. What the NCR is also doing, all the small, nano, micro, small businesses will be captured. They will be made formal. So I think that's what this whole MP 500 and BIP 25 is all about. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Essay. Now I'm taking it up from the point where you've left it, Essay. Empowering the citizens of Bayelsa, men and women. I'll move the question to the representative from the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Xavier. Now, when you look at the population of Bayelsa or the population of Nigeria, usually it is more female dominated. And records and statistics have shown that in 2024, about 60% of women do not have access to formal loans from banks. As a regulator, we've seen what has gone on here today with the governor speaking directly to a bank who would support one of the small businesses. As a regulator, what are you doing for more females, more entrepreneurs, like I mentioned, especially female-led entrepreneurs, to be able to access some digital incentives from the financial sector for Bayelsa and, of course, for Nigeria? So let's say Nigeria, and then we trickle down to Bayelsa.
The National Collateral Registry is a regulator working right under the umbrella of the Central Bank of Nigeria to provide increased financial inclusion for Nigerians, and especially for women. Now, for a program like the BIP, which is very monumental because it is driven by a passion I can see is coming from the very top. I can very categorically say that women are not going to be left out. You know, besides what the central bank has been doing over the years to improve gender financial inclusion, and by the way, the gender financial inclusion, that is the financial inclusion gap, the gender inclusion gap between the males and the females in Nigeria have been narrowing over the last 10 years because of the financial policies of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Of course, supported by all the other regulators, both in the financial and non-financial system. Now, the NCR is very poised to help especially the women, because you know that culturally, women supposedly do not own assets in many parts of this country. When it comes to inheritance, it is always a case of the male being superior. Am I right?
Correct.
Most cultures prefer inheritances and the likes to pass from one generation to the other through the males. It now leaves women or females with little or nothing to own as assets. But the National Collateral Registry, thankfully, working through the instruments of the secured transactions in movable assets, makes it easy for women to access external capital, that is capital which is not their own, from other sources using movable assets they have. Even the trinkets you have can be used as collateral if the need arises to access credit. And it is not only credit. When we talk about secure transactions, we are not talking about credit only. Factoring is a transaction, and it involves assets. So the movable assets of the business can also be used. The dryers in the hairdressing salon, the sewing machines, which are mostly female-dominated areas, all your instruments you use for your cosmetology business, which involves beauty and beautification, can all be used and accepted as collateral because the NCR registers what is called the security interest on those types of assets in favor of the banks. So the banks become comfortable to accept movable assets like vehicles, tricycles, trinkets, whatever you have, your gold ring, your earrings, and all of them. They are acceptable by financial institutions to now provide funding. And in that way, the women entrepreneurs in the BIP, and indeed the entire Nigerian nation, are also benefiting. Just before I anchor, it would interest you to know that from the statistics we have at the NCR, out of about 670,000 businesses and individuals that have been able to access credit using movable assets as collateral from various financial institutions, about 30% of this number are women or women-owned enterprises. So I understand that that will be replicated under BIP and in Bayelsa State.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for the assurance. So I'm going to hone in from your question to the representative from the Corporate Affairs Commission. During your presentation, sir, you did mention that you're encouraging a lot of businesses here to register with the CAC. I personally just registered a new business with the CAC. So now let's look at young entrepreneurs in Bayelsa State who are seeking to gain from BIP. Looking at the time frame for registration, looking at the ease of registration with CAC, looking at, to a reasonable extent, people who are able to have access to the registration tools from CAC because they're using agents and not going directly into the portal. What can you speak to with respect to the ease of registration for businesses, small-scale businesses with CAC?
CAC that she's referring in her statement means Corporate Affairs Commission. Corporate Affairs Commission, our main responsibility is to provide opportunity for businesses to be registered, to become legitimate. In other words, you can't run a legitimate business in Nigeria without being registered, are registered by Corporate Affairs Commission. Today, registration with Corporate Affairs Commission end-to-end is online, meaning that you don't need to pass through any agent for you to get yourself registered with the Corporate Affairs Commission. You can achieve registration with the Corporate Affairs Commission via your phone if you are conversant or you know how to do it. In fact, we just open up our services allowing other organizations which are technology savvy now to have integration with the Corporate Affairs Commission, giving them power to be our super agent, where you can consume the CAC services through them, through their portal. No need of coming through the CAC portal. You can also consume such services through such recognized associations like NIPS, like OPE, like MoneyPoint. All this because of the harboring informal businesses or small businesses. So to facilitate or to make it easy for citizens to get themselves registered, we said, no, if you are operating a business, for instance, under OPE or under MoneyPoint as a POS operator, we just provided a link to them through your own platform with your own phone. You enter CAC and got yourself registered with the OPE while you get certificate of Corporate Affairs Commission. This is ease of doing business at best. And beyond that, we are hoping by the end of this month, we are going to migrate totally, apart from being already being online, we are just moving to AI. Now, if you have application to the Corporate Affairs Commission coming to us, it must be approved by our staff. For instance, if you have a name, you conceive an idea to do a business and you come up with a name, you made application to the Corporate Affairs Commission. Back end, we have our staff that can vet that name to see whether that name has duplication or someone has already taken that name or that name comes within the restricted names. Now, you don't need any individual to vet. It is the system programmed in such a way it will now sieve and see whether that name can go or not instantly. The way we were used to opening email accounts, Gmail, Yahoo, and the rest. When you suggest a name, instantly, if that name it will not go, the portal will now suggest a name for you to get yourself registered. That's how the CAC will become shortly. Instantly, it means in seconds, if you are fast, or in minutes, less than 5 minutes, you get the name registered or reserved for your own use. If you choose to proceed with registration, instantly, once you give the TIN, not TIN, NIN, once you provide the NIN of the proposed director, automatically we don't need any particulars from you. From the NIN, our system will generate all your input, all your data from the NIN.
Amazing.
Instantly, you get your certificate mailed to the address or to the particular email address you provided. You get your certificate there and then. This means you are going to have your business registered within minutes. That is what we are targeting. And we are hoping to launch this by 27th of this month, June.
Wow.
For ease of doing business in Nigeria.
Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much for the very detailed explanation you've given. So I'll hinge on your explanation and I'll move to the representative from NIPC. So let us assume that Bayelsans who are here have successfully registered their companies with the Corporate Affairs Commission. Majority of them here are in the informal sector. So you know Nigeria's economy is largely driven by the informal sector. About 80% of our economy is informal. So for NIPC, you're tasked with the responsibility of driving investments. And a lot of times the focus has mostly been on major businesses. For small businesses like this, how can NIPC support them in terms of inclusion? How do you pass on the information on incentives that are currently available for them to maximize? A lot of times we hear about NIPC in the urban areas, in the bigger cities, but there are lots of entrepreneurs in Bayelsa who are in the rural cities, other states as well who are in the rural cities. How do you ensure that the right information gets to them timely with respect to getting them included in your activities for investments?
Thank you for that question. I talked about, when I was making my address, I talked about first formalizing your business. And the formal way to get your business done is what he just explained, getting it incorporated with CAC. Now, she asked a question. once your business is registered with CAC, what next? The ideal answer is, once you have registered with CAC, you would like to scale up, right?
Definitely.
You would like to be bigger than how you were after registration. Now, this is where NIPC comes in. We understand that most businesses at a small scale have a tendency to fizzle out within the first 2-3 years if they don't scale up. Have we seen those who started business and within a short time they have closed shop? Have we seen them?
Yes.
Yes. So we're mindful of that, and we said, look, you need to be able to expand. And there are so many other ways to expand. You can expand by, first of all, partnering with a foreign investor. 2, going into joint venture partnership with a local investor in-house, right? Now, so the person might actually invest money to expand your business. But for you to be able to do that, you will have to now do what? You will have to come out with a structured profile of what you're doing. And so we came up with what we call investment opportunity profiling. Now we know people are in Bayelsa, some others are in different states. So what we did is to put that form online so that you can download the form, fill it up, give us details about what you're doing currently. Then we can keep that information, profile you, and when we go for what we call investment promotion in other countries or within the country, we can use your project and say, look, we have a project that is looking for a foreign investor or is looking for a partner. And therefore, they will read through the structured information that you have provided. Remember I said structured information, which is why you need to follow through the form and make sure that every question that is asked in the form is provided. Now, once you're able to provide that information, then we put it in a form that can be consumed. The information can be consumed by a foreign investor because, of course, they are particular about what they want to know about you. They would like to know a bit about your profile, what you're doing. They would like to know a bit about how you're doing in terms of business. What is your income generation, monthly, weekly, and what is your profit margin? Now, so if you're able to bring those information in place and we package them, then we can easily give visibility and promote your business to a point where it can easily expand. So that is one very good way of doing it. Secondly, the NIPC is partnering with the IPAs in the different states because we understand that most of the investment promotion agencies in the state, they need to have the capacity to be able to promote the investment in those states. And so we came up with what we call the NICPS, which is a capacity building program that would train even the staff of the IPA, the Investment Promotion Agency, for them to be able to come out with first the information that they give to the investors. It must be such that they would now understand what they want. And then once we're able to now train them, then it means they can promote the investments within, which includes entrepreneurs like you. So before I leave, I'll probably leave my email address. I'll leave my telephone number. So for those, yes. So for those who are interested in scaling up their business from where it is right now, because it's about expanding, I would send you the investment opportunity profiling form. So you now fill it and send it back to us. Then we can use that as a project. As a matter of fact, by the 20th of this month, we have what we call West African Economic Summit. And we're presently calling for projects from different states. And so, see, if you had filled the form and then we had profiled your project, then it means your project would be one of those projects that can be promoted within that summit.
Wow.
Do we understand?
Yes.
Yes. And so if you're able to get one person who is interested in your own investment, let's assume you have 1 hectare of land. Let's go practical now. In Bayelsa, and you have just 1 tractor. Now, but you see, with 1 hectare of land and 1 tractor, you may not do much. You're looking for somebody who would expand it to about 10 hectares, and then will be able to now probably put in about 5 tractors in addition to the 1 that you have. Then you'll be able to spell out clearly what you have, and then we can now promote that. And how do we now get you two to sit? Once they are interested, we will invite you, and that's where the digital literacy comes in. We can invite you online and say, get virtual. Don't come to Abuja, but then talk with the investors, sit down and see how you can go into the joint venture partnership, depending on what you're bringing as your equity. So if you're doing 50-50, then it means at the end of the business, the sharing formula will be what? Can somebody help me? If 50-50, I think I like the entrepreneurs here. They already know what they are doing. What it means is that your equity in that investment is 50%. The equity of the person who is coming in is 50%. At the end of the day, in the case of that farmer, if you make your harvest and you make profit, then the sharing formula will equally be 50-50. But the good thing is, your business would have grown bigger than it was, and then the tendency for it to fizzle out or to die will actually be very minimal. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much. So I'll just go very quickly to the essay, and then she has a few things to add. But Madam Essay, a few years ago, Bayelsa was ranked top 3 in Nigeria with respect to ease of doing business, and we've seen that improve. Now, a lot of young entrepreneurs complain about data, they complain about electricity, and you still keep up with the push of launching BEEP. What would you say to youngsters here who might be slightly discouraged or not as encouraged to want to continue with the process, thinking, well, a lot of times we have challenges with data, a lot of times we have challenges with road networks, so even if I want to go into e-commerce, how do I deal with it? A lot of times we have challenges with power and electricity, so even if I want to go into e-commerce or digital marketing, how do I deal with it? And now, do you plan to establish a working relationship with service providers with respect to telecommunications? I'd like you to respond very quickly to that, and then you can add a few other things you have to say.
Thank you very much, Wofai. Well, the truth is, when we got on board, when we started this project, it looked like it was never going to happen because it wasn't the regular thing. I mean, it wasn't the regular thing they were used to here. So, like, where's she coming from? What exactly is she talking about? I mean, we got on calls. I went on the street, literally went on the street. I engaged Bayelsans, and the feedback we got, if you are not resilient, if you are not focused, it was enough to put me off. But I said to myself and my team, I said, no, we are going to make sense out of this nonsense. We are going to make something out of this resistance, and that is why we're here today. So I'm saying to every entrepreneur seated here in this hall, I mean, when you have so much resistance, that's to tell you that there is actually something in that thing for you. So when there's resistance, it's not enough for you to back off or to run. I mean, you don't have to, you're not a coward. So when you have setbacks, people are sabotaging what you want to do, people think you're dreaming too big, she's overambitious. I need to tell you, that is the way to go. Secondly, I also want to reiterate that the exact work, the journey has just begun for these 500 businesses. I mean, after the launching, we're having a 2-month mentoring program. The curriculums have all been drawn up, customized to all the 500 businesses we have onboarded. So by the time we are coming back for next year, Empower 500, which of course is not going to be big, you'll be hearing the testimonies. But before that, I mean, you will begin to feel, you begin to hear testimonies online. You begin to feel the economy of Bayelsa State will feel, I mean, they will feel the businesses of Bayelsa doing very well. So, I mean, that's my take-home word for everyone here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As we begin to wrap up, I'd like to get a final word from the Registrar General of the CAC. Could you please say something to motivate the young entrepreneurs we have here? Thank you.
As part of the support to this program, I think we have relocated the CAC office in Bayelsa State here. They are with us here to support these young men to get themselves registered so that they will start the business. And by doing so, we have empowered them to have access to capital, government grants, and other interventions. I wish you good luck. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So a word from the representative from NIPC, Mr. Lonza.
One, let's not look at digital inclusion as something that's very far. Let's bring it home. Do you know you can sell your products on WhatsApp? Do you know? So that is the first point to start. The question she asked initially is, how do we ensure that you have the internet services that is required for you to be able to now sell and be part of this digital inclusion that we're talking about? I was so happy that the governor made a statement about creating a hub. Did you hear that?
Yes.
Yes, it means you're going to have a center where you could have access to internet, you can use a computer system, you can activate your phone to be on the internet if you don't have. Now, so it means that you have a point where you can start in case you may not even be able to afford an internet on your phone. Now from there, if you're able to start selling, then that is a good point to start. Now, if you can, one, get your phone activated. We've seen people who have more than maybe 50, maybe 100, maybe 2,000 people on Facebook. And yet, what you do is just chat with them. You need to now start converting those people that you have as friends to what? Be your customers. They need to know what you're doing. So how do you get the message across? Once you have internet, instead of posting pictures that does not bring you money, post those things that you're doing right now on the phone. And they will ask you, where are you getting this from? That's where it starts. So you should be very deliberate about it. And then by the time you start passing the message across, then you take it a step further. How do I now begin to think about getting my products out there to them? Because when they see them and they're in Lagos and you're in Bayelsa, how do you move them? That's where you now start thinking of fintech. You start thinking of logistic companies like Jumia, right? And others. And then you find a way of moving the products in such a way that it's delivered, because in this business, trust is important. Did we get that?
Yes.
Yes. What it means is, if you are not able to deliver the product that has been paid for, guess what? You have killed your business. Yes. So once an order has been made, ensure that the product gets to them. Not just getting to them, but it must get to them in good time. Is that okay? Now, so for us in NIPC, we would continue to promote those businesses and agencies that are into logistics, so that it's easier. The more of them we have, the cheaper it is for you to move goods, right? That's what we'll continue to do. And then we will stay with you and ensure that we support you all the way. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The last but not the least, comments from Dr. Xavier Itam Okon, a representative from the CBN, please. Thank you.
The NCR has already provided audiovisual materials for the curriculum. The SA has mentioned. So in the course of your mentoring, you will have to take a 30-minute module on how you can access financing using your movable assets. And for those who are averse to credit, you say, I do not borrow, because borrowing is credit. Factoring is another way you can use to obtain financing, in which case the invoices that you have the invoices you've raised from your customers who are yet to pay you, you can sell them at a discount to a financial institution or to a factor and raise a percentage of the amount on that invoice and use for your operations. Trade financing, you can still use your movable assets. Leasing, in which case maybe a leasing company provides the equipment for you, and then it will have a security interest on those assets, and you use them and pay the rental. Is another means of obtaining financing without going near the word credit. And in all of these and several other ones like pawnbroking and all that, the NCR is providing the members of the BEEP program and the financial institutions risk mitigation. You are protected if you are an entrepreneur in 9 different areas of risk. And if you are a financier, like a commercial bank or a microfinance bank, you will be able to have 6 broad areas of risk protected. But if I were you, the main driving or the impetus for me to do well in this program is because I have seen the chief executive officer of a state that is so passionate enough to clear the interest rate on loans for its members. So you should take this opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you so much. At this juncture, I'll just conclude based off what he has said. These are policymakers on the corporate side and on the government side who are interacting with you all one-on-one and telling you about the next strategies to employ to scale your businesses. Please, a round of applause for them. Thank you. Thank you. A very thanks to these very distinguished panelists. Thank you so much for providing all of this information. On that juncture, on this note, I'll close this panel. My name is Wofai Samuel. I'm the Acting Director General of the Nigerian American Chamber of Commerce. Thank you, Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen.